The assassin.
You know I break necks, call me Jack Tate. I have no regrets while your life is fading. I'm a crazy fuck equivalent to Satan. When I'm behind the mic, I feel like the greatest. You know I break necks, call me Jack Tate. I have no regrets while your life is fading. I'm a crazy fuck equivalent to Satan. When I'm behind the mic, I feel like the greatest.
What up, y'all? You're listening to Sports Talk with Tropp, and I'm your host, Katie Tropp. Well, it has been an interesting week in baseball. You know, the Dodgers are starting to take a tumble. They starting to lose their grip on the National League West. As a matter of fact, right now, they're just not looking that good. So let's get right into the week of baseball, beginning on Monday. But the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Toronto Blue Jays, the Pirates had a fantastic game from Paul Skeens yet again. Pirates won the game 5-2. And Skeens went 6 innings and had 8 strikeouts, and he's just really having a phenomenal year. Would not be shocked if he's definitely an NL Cy Young candidate, but I wouldn't be shocked if he walked away with the Cy Young Award just flat out, because he's just having a fantastic year for such a terrible team. Then the Philadelphia Phillies took out the Seattle Mariners on Monday night, 12-7. Bryce Harper went off. He went 3 for 6 with 2 home runs, and both of those home runs went for over 440 feet. So he was cranking and yanking, getting hot at the right time, because playoffs are about a month away, and this is the time of the year that the Phillies need to get going. They're really going to need Bryce Harper. He also had 3 RBI on the night, and Trey Turner also went 4 for 6 with a home run and 5 RBI himself. And then, like I said, speaking of the Dodgers, they've been getting whipped this week by the Colorado Rockies, the worst team in the league this year. The Rockies got the win 4-3 over the Dodgers. Tovar had the game-winning run in this one. He went 2 for 4 with the home run, but just the game-winning run, sacrifice fly, they were able to get him home, and boom, the Rockies knocked off the Dodgers on Monday night. Then on Tuesday, it's looking like Detroit is back in order. They got a win over the Houston Astros, 1-0. Tarek Skubal is the first pitcher this season to hit the 200 strikeouts mark. He went 7 innings pitched with 10 strikeouts on the night. And then speaking of the Philadelphia Phillies, they got a win yet again over the Seattle Mariners on Tuesday, 6-4. And Sanchez pitched 6 innings pitched and 12 strikeouts. So even though they're having issues with the injuries at the starting pitcher position, Christopher Sanchez, man, he has been having a lights-out season. And if he keeps pitching like this is going to be a good move for the Philadelphia Phillies heading into the postseason. And then also on Tuesday night, the New York Yankees went off on the Tampa Bay Rays. They got the win 13-3, but the big news was they had 9 home runs in one game. Cody Bellinger has been having a fantastic second half of the season. He went 4 for 5 in this game with 2 home runs and 3 RBI. And then Giancarlo Stanton, he has been fantastic since he came back from the injured list. He had 2 home runs and 4 RBI, and has really been a huge offensive force for the Yankees since he came back. Then on Wednesday, the Colorado Rockies got yet another win over the Los Angeles Dodgers, 8-3. And in this one, Ohtani was the starting pitcher, and he just was terrible. They were getting on base all night, and then he ended up getting hit by a ball, taking it to the side of his leg. Didn't injure him at all, but it didn't look good at first. But he definitely had a terrible outing. Meanwhile, the Colorado Rockies rookie Tanner Gordon, he actually outdueled him with going 6 innings pitched with 3 strikeouts on the night. So since, like I said, we're about a month out from the baseball playoffs starting, let's just go ahead and let's recap where we're at in the season with all the division leaders and the wild card positions. Beginning with the American League Central, the Detroit Tigers right now hold a 9.5 game lead over the Kansas City Royals, so it's looking like they have that division on lockdown for sure. Then in the American League East right now, the Toronto Blue Jays hold a 4.5 game lead over the New York Yankees. They seem to be kind of slipping just a bit, but we'll see what happens here. I mean, there's still about a month left of baseball, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Yankees are able to get it going. But we'll see. The Blue Jays are a pretty damn good team. And then the American League West, the Houston Astros hold a 2-game lead over the Seattle Mariners. Right now, the American League wildcard spots are being held by the New York Yankees, the Boston Red Sox, and the Seattle Mariners, with the Kansas City Royals, Cleveland Guardians, and the Texas Rangers lurking. Then in the National League Central, the Milwaukee Brewers are still the top dog right now. They actually hold a 7-game lead over the Chicago Cubs. So it's going to take a pretty big collapse for the Brewers to lose that division lead right there. Then in the National League East, we have the Philadelphia Phillies with a 7-game lead over the Mets. So they keep widening the gap there for themselves. And then in the National League West, the Dodgers only hold a 1-game lead over the San Diego Padres. So we'll see what happens there. I still think the Dodgers are going to end up with that division, but the Padres are still lurking. Then with the National League wild card, we have the Chicago Cubs, the San Diego Padres, and the New York Mets, with the Cincinnati Reds, the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Arizona Diamondbacks lurking in on those wild card spots. All right, so with my last episode, I started my NFL season predictions, so we're going to go ahead and keep that going. Last I did the NFC East and AFC AFC East teams. So now today we're going to do the NFC North and AFC North teams and see how I think those divisions are going to shake out. So let's begin with the NFC North. And who I think is going to finish in first place in this division. I've got the Detroit Lions winning this division. I've got them going 13-4. They do get Aiden Hutchinson back. And honestly, really, the thing about the Lions is they're basically the same team that they were the last couple of seasons. And they're really just getting all their injured guys back, because that was the big problem for them towards the end of the season last year, is that it just kind of felt like on a weekly basis they were losing yet another major guy, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So I look at this Lions team, I just feel like they're going to be once again the top dog in the NFC, and probably one of the more difficult teams to stop, because I mean they still have the two-headed monster at the running back position. They still have a solid wide receiving core. They still have one of the best offensive lines in the game. And then, like I said, they're getting Aiden Hutchinson back, who was having a defensive MVP type year last year before he shattered his leg. So I kind of expect him to be, if he's playing at that same level, I'm expecting this Detroit Lions team to be damn good. So I've got them winning their division 13-4. Finishing in second place in the NFC North, I have the Chicago Bears. I've got them going 10-7. I still think they lack a lot of offensive weapons. They really don't have a lot going on at the wide receiver position. They don't have a lot going on at the running back position. Yes, they have Swift back there, but he didn't really show out last year. So this offensive line is pretty bad still. The defense looks pretty good. But I just kind of feel like this is going to be kind of one of those turnovers where I just kind of feel like the Bears are going to put it together slowly as the season goes on. I don't think they're going to come right out the gate and dominate or anything, but I do think they're going to improve. I think they're going to be better, and I think they could be potentially a wild card playoff team headed into this season. I do expect Caleb, though, to improve. This is going to be his second year coming into the quarterback position for the Chicago Bears. I expect him to improve and head in the right direction. But I think he's going to struggle because the offensive line is terrible and he doesn't have a lot of offensive weapons. But I still, like I said, I think the Bears are going to be one of those teams where they surprise, but it's going to come on probably towards the second half of the season rather than at the beginning of the season. Then finishing in third place in the NFC North, I have the Green Bay Packers. I've got them coming in at 8-9 this season. I just don't think there's a lot going on with this team. You know, Jordan Love has already had thumb surgery. He just had thumb surgery, I believe, last week or 2 weeks ago. So he's just coming off of that. And I don't know. I mean, they've got a weak wide receiving core. They do have Josh Jacobs in the backfield, so that's going to give them an offensive weapon right there. But outside of him, this offense is very, very weak. I still have questions at the defensive side of the ball. I just kind of feel like this is going to be a down year for the Green Bay Packers. I don't really see a lot of positives with them. And like I said, they're in a division with the Detroit Tigers, the Detroit Lions, and I just kind of feel like this division is going to beat up on each other, and I don't think the Packers are going to come out on top. As a matter of fact, I just think they're going to be a team that pretty much struggles for the most part and is a mid-tier level team. But finishing in fourth place in the NFC North, I have the Minnesota Vikings. I've got them coming in at 6-11. I'm really not sold on J.J. McCarthy. I know a lot of people really liked him coming out of the draft last year, but I personally was never sold on him to begin with. I kind of felt like he was overrated as far as how high he went in the draft and how highly ranked he was in the draft. I just don't really see it. And I mean, really, you look at it, they don't really have any wide receivers beyond Jefferson. Jefferson is arguably one of the best wide receivers in the game right now. But you look at the rest of this receiving core, Addison's actually going to miss I think the first 4 games of the season due to a suspension. And so you're going to be missing him. So what do they have going on there? And so I just think there's a lot of questions on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they were pretty solid last year. I don't know what we're going to get from them. I just kind of look at this and I go, I'm not sold on J.J. McCarthy. So I just kind of feel like they're going to have their struggles this year. And I don't really see anything positive coming out of the Minnesota Vikings this year. So moving on to the AFC North, I think this is going to be a division that beats up on each other as well. But I actually think there's going to be one team that I think is better than all of the teams, and that's going to be the Baltimore Ravens. I've got them finishing in this first place in this division at 12-5. I think they're one of the most complete teams heading into the season. They got Lamar Jackson. He's an MVP caliber quarterback. They've got a solid offensive line. They've got good tight ends. They've got good solid wide receiving core. They've got Derrick Henry in the backfield, one of the best running backs in the game. And then you've got a solid defense. And then you've got also a fantastic coach as well. So to me, I actually have the Baltimore Ravens as not only one of the best teams in this division, but I actually have the Ravens as one of the Super Bowl competing teams, where I look at them and I go, this is definitely a team that's competing for a Super Bowl. And I kind of feel like they are in that area where they should be a Super Bowl level team. I mean, like I just named off, they have a very complete team. So they should be one of the top dog teams and really shouldn't have any issues getting to the playoffs. I feel like they're going to beat up, for the most part, everybody in their division. But like I said, I just feel like they're the most complete team. And other than injuries, I kind of feel like this is going to be the team to watch for the Super Bowl. Finishing in second place in the AFC North, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have them going 10-7, and that's really because I feel the improvements on the offensive side of the ball are going to be enough to at least make them competitive for a wild card spot. I don't think they have any shot at winning this division. Aaron Rodgers, of course, gives them a much better quarterback than what they've had basically since Ben Roethlisberger, but they don't have a good offensive line. That has not improved, so that could be an issue. They don't really have anybody at the running back position, but they did trade for DK Metcalf in the offseason, so I think he and Rodgers, they're going to get something going. I don't see any issues with those two. I think they're going to be electric on the offensive side of the ball. It's just there might be struggles because that offensive line and that ground attack are probably going to struggle this year. On the defensive side of the ball, though, the Steelers have been top dog, and I still expect them to be top dog. So you got this top defense coupled with a pretty damn good offense. I feel like they're going to be right there as a wild card bound team and not winning the division, because I still think, like I said, that offensive line and that ground attack, there's a lot of questions with that. But I think they definitely improved with the additions of Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf on the offensive side of the ball. Then finishing in third place in the AFC North, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. I have them going 8-9 this season. It's just because beyond Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, there ain't shit going on this team. They still have a poor offensive line. They have a weak running back core. And then you turn to the defensive side of the ball, which has been okay for the most part. But Trey Hendrickson, their top defender, is on the trading block right now. They've been going back and forth with this contract situation all offseason. And it's been literally since the offseason began last year. And, he hasn't done anything in training camp. And he's just been on the trading block the last couple of weeks. So I look at this as being not only a big distraction, but they're probably going to trade him. And what are they going to get for him? I mean, they should get something decent in return, but what are they going to get for him? I kind of feel like if they get somebody, it's not going to be the same caliber as Hendrickson, but they should at least get somebody, maybe a running back or something on the offensive side of the ball, because that's, Burrow, Jamar, and T, they are electric. But I kind of feel like it's going to be like last year, where they had their offensive moments, but beyond those three, they ain't got shit, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And if your defense is giving up too much, that offense is going to be out there, and they're not going to be able to do too many things if the defense can't stop the other team from scoring. And then finishing in fourth place in the AFC North this year, I have the Cleveland Browns going 2-15. I don't know where they're going to get those 2 wins, though, because this team flat out sucks. They have about 35 quarterbacks on their roster right now, so we'll see how that goes. They have no wide receivers. They have no running backs. They have a terrible offensive line, and they do have Myles Garrett at defensive end. So, hey, they've got a fantastic defensive end. But other than that, this team sucks. So they might get 2 wins because, Myles Garrett's probably going to have like a really amazing game where he sacks the quarterback about 5 times, forces a fumble, and then runs the fumble back for a touchdown. And the Browns are able to get the win 7-6. And then the second win is going to come from maybe like Myles Garrett is going to block a field goal and run it back for 2 points. And so the Browns are going to get the win 2-0. So those are probably how the Cleveland Browns are going to get those 2 wins. But other than that, man, I was looking over that roster and I couldn't. It's just weird because, sometimes the Browns actually have like these talented guys at the running back. No, there's nothing on this team other than Shedeur Sanders, and sorry, the rookie ain't going to save y'all. So this is going to be what we call a typical Cleveland Browns season. All right, y'all, enjoy the weekend of sports, and I will talk to you fools on Monday.